Welcome everyone to this Age of Empires 4 build order tutorial for the Ayyubids. And today we're going to go for a very fast castle into a ghulam rush or push if you like, and even thinking about getting siege on the map in the form of the Manjanik. Now first things first, as usual, queue up villages in your town center, take your scout out and about to find as many sheep as possible, and then the first 6 villages you start off with will go to build a mill and go to berries. Now the first villager that comes out from the town center will build a house, and then also go to berries. After that, the next villager coming out from the town center will go to gold, and then the next villager after that will go to build the House of Wisdom, and then to go to gold, and then the next villager from the town center will go straight to gold. That will give you 7 villagers on food on the berries, and 3 villagers on gold. Now in this build order, we will be getting an outpost to protect our gold vein and get arrow slits, but more importantly, thinking about the House of Wisdom, we are going to go up with growth from the economic wing to get to the feudal age, and then we're going to go with advancement using the culture wing to go to the castle age. That will give us a very quick uptime, and then we'll be able to afford 2 barracks with the ghulam production, but also a mosque to get the dervish out to get those relics. Now with this build order, it's kind of good against civilizations that try to rush the castle age, for example the Holy Roman Empire, and civilizations that you want to try and contest the relics. Now later on in the video, I will pop on your screen a little graphic to show you what you need in terms of villager splits on resources to maintain constant production of either ghulams or camel lancers. Now this particular build order, we will be going for ghulams instead because camel lancers are a bit more expensive, and I do actually have a different build order for the camel lancer rush for the Ayyubids. Now that we have 7 villagers on food and 3 villagers on gold, we're going to be getting the next 4 villagers to go to the straggler tree and collect the wood we need to get an outpost and a house, and then obviously production buildings afterwards. So at this sort of time, we just need to make sure we get as many sheep on the map, and by the way, with the scouting, you can be super aggressive. Don't bother coming back to deposit sheep unless it's on your way back, because ultimately you want to be aggressive and take as many sheep off the map as you can, and we're not going to be reliant on the sheep on the early game anyway. So as you can see, we're rallying to the wood line, and we are looking good. Now, just bear in mind, as soon as you do get 100 wood, you're going to actually take a villager off of gold to build an outpost. So that's what we are going to be waiting for in the next step. And just as a reminder for YouTube channel members or Twitch subscribers, if you do use the PDF versions of my build orders, this is going to be on the most up-to-date version on Discord. So do check it out if you're interested. In any case, the build order is on the right side of your screen, so hopefully that's pretty handy. Now we're going to get that next villager to come out the straggler tree. Now this is the time that you actually advance to the next stage. We're going to go up with growth from the economic wing. That's going to give us 3 villagers and also give us extra berries on our orchards. Now just bear in mind, throughout this time, I've actually been changing the villagers on the berry bush that they're taking. You don't want to exhaust a single berry bush, because if you do that, then you don't get the additional food from the tech up to the feudal age. So bear in mind, don't exhaust any of those berry bushes. Just move the villagers around to the next berry bush every so often. So something you have to kind of keep an eye on, but it's something that is pretty important to do. So now we're going to be building an outpost using a villager on gold. The next 2 villagers from the town center will go to sheep on the food, and then the next 2 villagers after that will go to gold, giving 9 on food, 4 on wood, and 5 on gold. But it might just look like 4 because you've got one of the villagers building, of course. That building villager will go back to gold to make it 5. Right, so as you can see, we're just microing those villagers, moving them to different berry bushes because we don't want to exhaust them until we've got to the next stage. Now just bear in mind as well, the next step after building the outpost is to build a house as soon as you hit 50 wood, because it's really important. When you get to the next stage, the feudal age, you're going to get 3 new villagers for free from the House of Wisdom. But if you don't have the population space for them, they just won't pop out. So get the outpost, and then as soon as you hit the next 50 wood, build a house. And then with the next 50 wood after that, build a lumber camp. So there we are. We're going to have that 5th villager on gold. And from here on in, we're going to be rallying new villagers to go to sheep underneath the town center. Now that we're just about to age up the new villagers from the House of Wisdom, they're going to rally to stone. And there will be 2 villagers on the sheep from earlier, and you're going to take them to gather stone as well. That'll give you 5 villagers gathering 1 batch of stone, and they carry 10 stone each. That'll give you 50 stone, which is exactly what you need for the arrow slits upgrade. As usual, going to be queuing up new villagers to go to food on the sheep. So once those villagers do come back from the stone, they're going to be going to sheep as well, and then once they've deposited that stone, we actually going to be clicking arrow slits. It's important you do that actually, because if you're up against a civilization that's being a bit aggressive, this is the time, or very shortly anyway, they might start pushing your main base in that gold vein. Right, so now we are just going to be waiting till we get 850 food and 450 gold, and then we'll be clicking up to the next stage using the Culture Wings Advancement Tech. And that will be giving us a cheaper tech up to the next stage and give us a really good timing on that fast castle. Now with the next batches of wood, when we hit 150 wood, we're going to be building a barracks, and we can even actually get some units out if we really have to, if we're being pushed, but ideally we won't have to. It's a really good idea at this point to have a really good grasp as to what your opponent is doing by scouting, but also finding out where all the relics are and making sure that you keep an eye on the opponent's key resources in case that's where you want to put some pressure with your ghulam. It's always worth keeping an eye on your population space as well, because you will need to build houses, and that brings you onto another concept to think about. The House of Wisdom has a Golden Age tier system where you will need at least 10 buildings to get that Golden Age tier. And you will do that pretty soon, but obviously we're going to be getting a barracks first. That's the priority, just to make sure that we've got production when we get to the next stage. And there we are. We are going to be advancing to the next stage at 6 minutes, which is incredibly fast. And once we've clicked that, we're going to be taking villagers away from sheep underneath the town center to go to wood. That will give us 15 on wood, 5 on gold, and 7 on food. Now we would have 15, it's just that one village is building there, the barracks. And then we will be ready on our way. New villagers, as usual, to the town center on the food that's there. And from here on in, really what we want to do is build a barracks with the next 150 wood, and then think about saving up for 200 wood so we can get a mosque to get the dervish out. Now, once you do have your 200 wood in your bank to build the mosque for the dervish, then you will actually pull the villagers away from wood to go to food until you get 20 on food. That's the magic number really we're aiming for. And then the remainder of the villagers you have in your economy can go to wood. Of course, you're leaving those 5 villages on gold at all times. From here on in, it's going to be very quick to that next stage, and once you do get to the next stage, you're going to pump out those ghulams, double production from the double barracks, and then, as we said, you're going to be aiming for 20 on food, and the rest of the villagers, new villagers from the town center, will go to wood until you get 10 on wood, and then you'll actually want to get an extra 2 villagers on gold, so you want to get to 20 on food, 10 on wood, and 7 on gold. As soon as the mosque has been built, make sure to get the dervish. And once you've got that eco balance nice and steady, you want to start getting eco upgrades. But more importantly, most likely, is to get a blacksmith for some all-important technologies and upgrades for your units. Bring the relics back home and keep pumping out units. Now check out on the screen here, this will have a good breakdown for you in terms of unit production and how many villages you need on each resource. Today we demonstrated the double barracks ghulam push. You could equally do a double camel lancer push, but it is a bit more of a delayed thing, and the balance need to be a bit more careful about food and gold, because the camel lancers, they cost a lot more gold. As you can see, you would need at least 16 villagers on food and 10 villagers on gold for camel lancers. In terms of economic upgrades to prioritize, I would certainly recommend getting double broadaxe from your lumber camp and also wheelbarrow from your mill. If you're looking at blacksmith upgrades, I would recommend getting iron undermesh if you're going super aggressive underneath your opponent's town center, maybe to kill some villagers on a wood line, that kind of thing. Otherwise, you need to actually have a look at what your opponent's making. If they're making ranged units like archers, certainly iron undermesh would be really good. But if they're making sort of melee units like horsemen, then probably getting fitted leatherwork, the melee armor upgrade, could be a better option. In any case, make sure you get the relics as best as you can. Keep production of the dervishes. You can even use the dervish unit to actually heal up your military units, so make sure you keep them alive. Hope you guys enjoyed this build order tutorial for the Ayyubids. I've got plenty of other build orders on the channel with the other civilizations in mind, so if that interests you, then do check out the playlist on your screen right now. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give the video a thumbs up because it really helps on the YouTube algorithm side of things. Take care and see you next time.